Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube 2013 NFL segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the 2013 NFC South Preview. In first place, don't be too flabbergasted, people. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons at 11-5. Quarterback Matt Ryan got his first career postseason win last season, as most of us know. They fell to the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Really, this is a team that seems like they are kind of like perennial, regular season wonders, and they just can't seem to quite get it done in the postseason. Since 2008, since Matt Ryan has been on the team, they're 33-7. This team is everything but invincible at home. That's one thing that they can count on really consistently, is to win at home. Their wide receiving core is very good with Roddy White and Julio Jones. They combined for 171 receptions in 2012. Defense wasn't bad either. They were fifth in scoring defense at 18.7 points per game allowed. They lost running back Michael Turner and acquired Steven Jackson from St. Louis. That could be a good, exchange or trade-off or whatever you want to call it. The thing is, I just wonder if, they have lost a number, players during the off-season, the defensive departures especially, and including cornerback Dunta Robinson, and they had no fewer than 6 of 8 draft picks dedicated to defensive players, so maybe they can kind of supplant some of their losses, but it'll be interesting to see if they're going to work out and mesh with the rest of the team. As I said before, they are pretty much perennial regular season wonders, 36-12 since 2010, which has to be one of the best marks in the league over those 3 years. But the question is, can they get it done in the postseason? And that still really is going to remain to be seen. And the Falcons and quarterback Matt Ryan will be judged, based on how they perform at the, after the regular season during the playoffs, as opposed to just, putting up stupendous numbers during the regular season. Second place, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints at 9-7. Quarterback Drew Brees had another phenomenal season. The team averaged 28.8 points per game. That was third best in scoring offense. As a lot of us know, they did set the dubious honor of most yards allowed in a season, 7,042. So that being unprecedented, I think it would be very hard for them to duplicate, or not necessarily duplicate or surpass that this season. So the defense is not going to be any worse. At least they have one thing going for them. And there's a lot of, they did have, they were in that bounty scandal, and they did lose a number of players last season, at least for part of the season, if not majority or all. It depends on some players may have been suspended the whole, others missed part. Sean Payton, the coach, missed the whole season. So now everybody's going to be back. They will be a legitimate playoff threat, I believe. They also they have drafted a free safety, Kenny Vaccaro, and they added cornerback Keenan. I'm going to say Keenan Lewis to help a very anemic secondary. And, I understand, they have the excuse with the bounty scandal and, had their, roster was somewhat dismantled last season. But they had only one win against a team that finished the regular season with a winning record. Rob Ryan is going to be the new defensive coordinator on this team, and his fiery temperament might be what this team is going to need. And this is a team that gave up 28 points or more 9 times in the regular season last year. The defense was deplorable, to say the least, and obviously, maybe he can spark some life into it and help rejuvenate, this defense that they have. Third place, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 7-9. They had lost 5 of their final 6 games last season. They were expected to perhaps figure prominently in the playoff scheme last season, and it just didn't happen. They were 10-6 the previous year, so there were some high aspirations and expectations for this team, but it just didn't pan out for whatever reasons. They acquired cornerback Jarrell Revis to help improve the worst pass defense in 2012 based on yards allowed. This is, the red zone defense was ranked only number 22 in the league. They, as far as the touchdown red zone defense. So they allowed a TD about 56% of the time when they had an opposing team get inside the 20-yard line. So obviously that's not good, and that's something that they're going to have to work on, this season if they want to have any hopes of at least contending for a playoff position. One of the few bright spots they had, though, last season, they had running back Doug Martin, who was 5th in the NFL in rushing yards with 1,454. He also had 49 receptions and 11 touchdowns. He led all rookie running backs in receptions, so this was he had a very stellar year, and the team may have a bright future as far as the running game goes right now. A lot of their success this season, though, could be predicated on quarterback Josh Freeman's development. Is he going to do, is he going to keep improving and escalating? It's just going to really, see how he does. And his yards, were okay, but his completion percentage was less than 55%, and that's obviously, not great, and it's something that he will have to work on, improve that completion percentage. Having the yards passing is one thing, but also being accurate, with your passes obviously is another, and that will probably evolve. He'll grow with age as far as that goes. He'll make fewer mental mistakes and miscues, and we'll see the numbers in that part of his game improve. Well, last but not least, I have the Carolina Panthers as cellar dwellers at 7-9. They're losing the tiebreaker with the Tampa Bay Bucks. What's going to really hurt them this season is that the Carolina Panthers have the hardest schedule based on the opposition winning percentage of the teams they're playing against. What their winning percentage was in 2012, their opponents, is the highest, so that makes them have the hardest schedule. I believe the collective winning percentage of their opponents, based on last season's record, is around 534 and 543, and that's the worst. So they have the toughest schedule on paper this season. And quarterback Cam Newton didn't succumb to a sophomore slump really last season. He still, he played admirably. It wasn't, I wouldn't say the numbers were really, super. They weren't gargantuan or that prodigious, but they were good enough to tell us that he's going to be fairly consistent, and he's going to be one of the top QBs in the league, I think, for some time to come. After starting off the season slowly, the team did win 4 of their they won their last 4 and 5 of their last 6, so they did finish on a rampage. The final 4, they averaged 30.5 points per game scored. The team was 12th in total offense. They improved their win total by a robust 1 game, which is not really, that great from the previous season, but as long as they're going up, as opposed to down, that's the main thing. And I want to say that they're balanced too, because they were 10th in total defense. And back to Cam Newton, he's just somebody that is really like a phenom, because almost like a specimen. He's thrown for 7,920 yards his first 2 seasons. That's the best. It hasn't been surpassed by anybody. He even beat Peyton Manning, had the previous record, and also Cam Newton did this in fewer pass attempts than Peyton Manning. So that's something to keep in mind. Cam Newton could be the the future for the NFL, I believe. The team, even though they were 10th in total defense, the secondary, as far as their interceptions, really was somewhat abhorrent. They only had 11 INTs last season, and they need to get the playmaking, a little bit better on this team. And they added cornerbacks, DJ Moore and I believe Drayton Florence to the team, and they're really going to be, I think the defense could very well be improved this year. It could be something if they can get through this, this abominable schedule they have. They can maybe work through it and get a playoff spot, at best a wild card. I have them at 7-9. I really don't think they're going to do any better than 8-8, and the schedule, is going to factor in terms of their success, or maybe not as successful as they maybe could be if they had a little lighter schedule. They also have, Luke, his name is Kuechly, had led the NFL in tackles last season, and he was, first-year guy. This is a really good surprise for this team, and the team was 8th in the NFL in tackles at 1,084. So I mean, he accounted for over 10% and close to perhaps near 15% of the team's total tackles. So he really, he was pretty active in the tackling department. I think that would be an understatement. So anyway, people, before I sign off, let me just go through my the teams one more time and go through the the won-loss records as far as the predictions go. Hold on a second, people. Again, first place Atlanta Falcons 11-5, New Orleans Saints 9-7, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 7-9, and Carolina Panthers 7-9. Until next time, people, stay well.